Well, thanks so much for joining with me today. I'm really excited about some of the things I'm going to be talking about, and I hope that you'll stick around to hear me out to the end of this video because I've got some content that I'd love to share with you. In a recent announcement released through Instagram, former megachurch pastor Joshua Harris wrote the following, quote, "I have undergone a massive shift in regard to my faith in Jesus. By all the measurements that I have for defining a Christian, I am not a Christian." My goodness, that's so disturbing to so many of us, isn't it? Well, Joshua Harris, as some of you may know, has for some years been a major voice within the broader evangelical American landscape. His landmark book, I Kissed Dating Goodbye, was widely influential for its countercultural motifs. And shortly after meeting and marrying his wife Shannon, Harris took up pastoring at Covenant Life Church in Gaithersburg, Maryland. And as of today, Harris's reputation has plummeted in the wake of his divorce and of his subsequent apostasy from the faith. Only days after Harris's shocking announcement, evangelical America was again rocked by disturbing headlines. Longtime Hillsong singer and songwriter Marty Sampson released a similar announcement concerning the state of his own faith. Noticing that, quote, "science keeps piercing the truth of every religion," Sampson shortly stated, quote, "I am not in anymore." He then concluded with the words, quote, "What's true to me right now is that Christianity just seems to me like any other religion." Well, following the two announcements, released roughly 2 weeks apart, the church was deeply shaken by the grave news. Relevant Magazine and many other Christian news sources have continued to follow the developing twin stories. As of the time of this video, Marty Sampson has thankfully softened his previous comments, assuring all that he has not renounced his faith completely. While on the other hand, Josh Harris seems to be growing much worse with a recent Instagram video in which he appeared chemically high. Well, in light of the recent announcements, what are Christians really to think about this? I mean, how should believers process what we are currently seeing? For those who struggle with their faith, this is liable to cause them to feel more compelled than ever to give up on their Christianity completely. And with many millennial Christians identifying with the recent news, it is likely that these stories will drive doubts even further, as I'm sure many of you are already anticipating. And the results will be an increasing pressure to cave before cultural questions aimed at undermining the Bible's teachings. Well, recently, as I sat down to respond to my email, my eye caught sight of the following note. Why exactly do you do what you do? Or why, Ben Fisher, are you an apologist? As I sat back in my chair to think about that question, my mind was brought to the above pair of stories, which really represent a major shift in regard to cultural impressions of faith in America. And as I contemplated the news, a fresh awareness dawned on me that the present problem with apostasy, amongst the young in particular, really does expose a problem which lies at the very heart of our entire approach to doing church. Not long ago, I paused in my research and writing to view a video of a famous Christian apologist who had been asked to visit a local church in order to teach a one-day seminar on the defense of the faith. And at the start of the video, which was a recording of the second session, the pastor stood before those gathered and spoke the following interesting statement. He said, "If you were here for the previous session and you scarcely understood a word which Dr. Stan, by the way, not his real name, was speaking, he went on to say, I've personally spoken with Dr. Stan, explained the problem to him, and he has assured me that the following session will be much more easy for us to grasp. So please don't leave. Please don't leave." I just found that statement amazing. And so I scarcely listened to the remainder of the doctor's talk, which I had performed. Actually, I had performed an internet search to locate the discussion on YouTube. Well, soon after shutting my computer down, I realized what it was about those statements which had so arrested me. I mean, here the church, and probably more specifically the pastor, had opened his doors to the guest lecturer to fly miles out of town to visit and teach. And who knows how the man had adjusted and readjusted his personal life just to make his travel plans work. And yet now the church which he had visited seemed to be complaining that his previous science and faith talk had been too complex or maybe too dry to hold their attention. And so the pastor therefore felt constrained to reassure the congregation that he had spoken and deliberated with his guest speaker in the green room to dumb down his talk and include more chit-chatty stories for the sake of those gathered. And so as I recalled the headlines of the above recent events, I wondered if the pastor had received wind of the recent news. Marty Sampson, in fact, had specifically stated in his tweet that, quote, science keeps piercing the truth of every religion. Science keeps piercing the truth of every religion. And so recalling my experience with my own science education in college, it had really been anything but chit-chatty or filled with stories for the sake of holding the attention of the scientifically uninclined. And yet, according to most polls, science and faith questions are perennially listed as among the top 3 reasons for millennial deconversion. Obviously, dry presentations from stodgy science professors are not preventing them from making an impression upon the minds of the religious young. I mean, given what the comments of the pastor seem to be revealing, one would almost gather that he viewed his guest speaker's expertise as a liability to his own audience connection, which is kind of incredible when you pause to think about that. Without going much further, let me just go ahead and pause and admit that I understand the toil involved with crafting content capable of just lighting up the room. Engaging a conference crowd is hard work and involves a nearly endless amount of internal deliberation prior to, quote, taking the stage to present on science and faith issues, especially in settings outside of higher education. And yet the problems with the video, which I had seen, were too glaring for me to ignore. In particular, in light of the speaker's broad renown for his ability to reduce an entire audience to stitches, just laughter mixed with tears, while discussing quantum physics and biological evolution. In simple terms, the speaker in the video was really hands down one of the best in the business. All of which brought me to further wonderment concerning the backlash in the pastor's comments in the video. And this problem really is sadly not at all uncommon, which presents us with a disturbing counter-story to the above events. You see, because while so many young people are ditching their Christianity because, quote, science and faith issues are never discussed from the pulpit, there is also a vast outcry, particularly amongst evangelicals, for pastors to, quote, keep it simple. Just KISS, the old saying, KISS, keep it simple, stupid. In fact, this following statement by Leonard Ravenhill is really familiar to very many of us. If you, quote, preach a sermon from your head, it will fail to reach the hearts of those listening. Evidently, today, it is our lack of attention, amazingly, our lack of attention towards the importance of discipling the minds and pastoring the minds of young people, which is contributing to the church's losing the heart of a generation. Isn't that a turn of events? I mean, given the fact that we are now seeing the largest church walkout in recent American religious memory, I think it is now high time for us to state with firmness, Mr. Ravenhill, you were wrong. You see, what I think we really need, and this is really for anyone listening to this video, what we really need to see happening right now, particularly amongst the clergy of our time, is a willingness to understand that entertaining listeners is not enough on Sunday morning. Stating the occasional biblical platitude is not enough on Sunday morning. Even producing a warm, tingly feeling in the room while reciting John 3:16 is just not enough. Because if we fail to bring the gospel into confrontation with the strongholds of our culture and the strongholds of the mind, if we continue to just sort of banish structured arguments and reasoned discourses from our pulpit, which, by the way, tended to fill the teaching of Paul the Apostle and Jesus himself, if we continue to persist in the sin of de-intellectualizing our churches and institutions, and yes, that is a sin, then America will continue its precipitous slide into secularism, and hardly anyone will be able to stop it. And so that is actually the reason, in answer to the email that I had examined, which prompted all of this, that is the reason why I do what I do today. Our ministry has labored hard for almost 7 years to bring a fresh, crisp, intellectual defense of the Christian faith mingled with gentleness and heart. And I've appeared in debates with atheists, delivered science and faith talks at secular college campus events. I've spoken at conferences and churches. I've built a web-based ministry from the ground up because I firmly believe that we are at our best when we are bringing the truth of the gospel with an intellectual boldness that resists the undertow of the direction of our current culture. And in that same spirit of boldness, I just want to challenge those that are connected with our ministry to just give above and beyond to the work that's going on here. As an adjunct faculty member at Teen Challenge Leadership Institute, where I teach both apologetics and New Testament, I'm involved with training servant leaders who will defend the faith with sincerity. And the training that they receive is second to none. Really, it really is. And through the miracle of modern technology, what's possible now is that we can actually extend that same training to you. And that's what I'm here to do today. I want to encourage you, if you've ever thought that maybe now is the time, 2020 is going to be the year for you to get equipped in the defense of the faith, then I want to offer the following online course to you. The course is being offered for a monetary cost, which is probably not surprising to many of us, but that cost is really nominal in comparison to the quality of what you receive. In addition to hours of video content, you're going to receive an 87-page course workbook that's filled with over 100 citations from scholarly professional journals and scholarly monograms and books. You're also going to be backed if you purchase the course by our 100% money-back guarantee. So if you discover a single factual inaccuracy in any of our course material, you're going to be refunded. In fact, you can even give the course, I might suggest this as an option, as a digital gift to your pastor or to a troubled young person struggling with their faith in your life. It's just really our goal and our heart's desire to create a virtual movement of gospel truth that dynamically impacts and touches the heart of a generation. We're so thankful for each one of you who are watching this video, have taken the time out of your day, 10 minutes to sit down and watch this video, and to create space really for this ministry to thrive and deliver. And together it's our desire to just reach out with the message of Jesus to the very people and places which are most at risk for the unbelief and skepticism which is in our world today. So would you consider joining with us? Just simply click on the link that's below this video for you to get access to the course material that we're offering to you. You'll see the sales page. It's easy to sign up, and we know that you're going to get a lot out of this. Thanks again so much for taking the time to hear out this appeal today, and may God just bless you as you consider the new year and some of your goals in a fresh way. God's blessings to you. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.